Everyone saw the bombs fall. Everyone saw the cities burn. Everyone saw the headlines scream. But nobody saw who was counting the money, while Iran and Israel tore each other apart in 2026. While millions suffered, while the world held its breath, a few nations quietly got richer than ever before. And today, you'll finally see who they were and how they did it. This is the truth behind the war no one wanted to talk about. Let's begin. The year was 2026. Tensions between Iran and Israel had reached breaking point. After years of proxy wars, cyber attacks, and assassinations, the dam finally broke. On May 12th, Israel launched a preemptive strike on Iranian nuclear sites. Iran retaliated with ballistic missiles, drone swarms, and attacks on U.S. bases in the Gulf. Within days, the conflict escalated into full-scale war. The U.S. joined Israel. Russia and China backed Iran. Hezbollah, Houthis, and Shia militias opened new fronts. Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, all dragged into the fire. Oil prices spiked to $180 a barrel. Global markets crashed. Supply chains collapsed. Millions fled their homes. The death toll? Over 200,000 in just 6 months. Cities like Tehran, Haifa, Beirut, and Damascus reduced to rubble. But while the world focused on the bombs, while media played footage of destruction non-stop, a different kind of war was being won in boardrooms, banks, and stock exchanges. And the winners, not the soldiers, not the politicians, but the ones who saw the war coming and bet everything on it. Let's start with the losers, the nations that paid the highest price, in blood, in money, in future. First, Iran. Already crippled by sanctions, Iran's economy imploded. Its oil infrastructure destroyed, its currency collapsed by 90%, inflation hit 300%, millions faced starvation. The regime survived, but the people, they lost everything. Second, Israel. Despite military superiority, Israel suffered massive damage. Tel Aviv, Haifa, Dimona, all hit. Over 15,000 civilians dead. Tech sector paralyzed. Tourism vanished. Foreign investment fled. National debt doubled in months. Israel survived, but its image as an invincible fortress was shattered. Third, Lebanon. Already bankrupt, Lebanon became a battleground. Beirut bombed again. Government collapsed. Hezbollah weakened, but not destroyed. Over 1 million displaced. Lebanon didn't just lose, it ceased to function as a state. Fourth, Syria. Still recovering from its own civil war, Syria was hit by Israeli strikes and Iranian militias. Damascus bombed. Aid routes cut. Famine spread. Syria became a graveyard. Again. Fifth, Iraq. U.S. bases attacked. Shia militias clashed with Kurds. Oil exports halved. Political chaos erupted. Iraq regressed by a decade. And the U.S.? Militarily involved, yes, but not destroyed. Still, its global credibility took a hit. $300 billion spent in 6 months. Troops killed. Allies questioned American leadership. But America didn't lose the war. It just paid a price. These nations burned. But others? They were already preparing to profit. Now were the winners, the ones who saw the storm coming and built boats made of gold. First, the United States. Yes, it spent billions, but it also made billions. U.S. defense contractors, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, Northrop Grumman. Their stocks surged 200% in 6 months. Missiles, drones, fighter jets, all in high demand. The Pentagon placed emergency orders worth $150 billion. And oil? U.S. shale producers, ExxonMobil, Chevron, Pioneer, profited massively from 180 oil. Texas and North Dakota saw an energy boom. Exports to Europe and Asia skyrocketed. America didn't just survive, it weaponized the crisis. Second, China. Publicly, China condemned the war. Privately, it exploited it. China bought Iranian oil at a 40% discount through back channels. It expanded its Belt and Road influence in Central Asia and the Middle East, filling the vacuum. Chinese tech firms replaced Western ones in Iran and Syria. Huawei, ZTE, Alibaba all expanded. And China's gold reserves increased by 300 tons in a year, hedging against dollar instability. China didn't fight, it waited. And while others bled, China grew stronger. Third, Russia. Sanctioned? Yes. But Russia had prepared. It sold weapons to both sides, indirectly. Through intermediaries, Russian drones and air defense systems reached Iran and militias. Oil and gas exports to Asia surged. bypassing Europe. Russia's ruble stabilized, and Putin used the chaos to consolidate power, claiming the West was collapsing. Russia didn't win the war, but it escaped stronger than before. Fourth, Saudi Arabia and the UAE. At first, vulnerable, but then they pivoted. Saudi Arabia increased oil production, becoming the world's top supplier. Aramco profits hit $200 billion in a year. The UAE invested heavily in defense tech. Dubai became a financial haven for war wealth. Gold, crypto, real estate, all surged. The Gulf monarchies didn't fight, they financed. And fifth, India. Neutral stance, smart move. India bought cheap Iranian oil, refining and selling it to Europe. It exported weapons to Southeast Asia and Africa, filling gaps. Tech sector boomed, outsourcing demand increased. India didn't pick sides, it picked profit. But the real winners, not nations, but networks. Invisible players who operate beyond borders. First, hedge funds and private equity. Firms like BlackRock, Citadel, and Elliott Management short-sold Middle Eastern assets before the war. They bought defense stocks early. They invested in gold, Bitcoin, and commodities. One hedge fund reportedly made $4 billion in 3 months. Second, arms dealers and mercenaries. Private military companies, Wagner, Academy, Frontier Services Group, deployed. They profited from chaos. Arms brokers sold weapons on the black market to militias, rebels, even terrorist groups. No accountability, no oversight, just profit. Third, cryptocurrency. As currencies collapsed, people fled to crypto. Bitcoin hit $150,000. Stablecoins surged. Offshore banks in Cayman Islands, Switzerland, Panama laundered war money. Politicians, warlords, oligarchs all hid their wealth. The war wasn't just fought with bombs, it was funded with secrecy. And fourth, media conglomerates. War sells. Advertising revenue doubled. Documentaries, podcasts, books, all cashed in. The world watched the suffering, and the media profited from every click. Now, let's talk psychology. Because this isn't just about economics. It's about human nature. We focus on the bombs, because fear grabs attention, because pain is visible, because drama sells. But the money? It's quiet. It's hidden. It's calculated. And that's how they get away with it. The real power isn't in tanks or missiles, it's in information, in timing, in control. The winners didn't react to the war. They anticipated it. They prepared for it. They manipulated it. And the rest of us? We were distracted by the noise, while the signal was clear all along. War isn't chaos. It's opportunity, for those who know where to look. So the next time you hear about a war breaking out, don't just ask who's fighting, ask who's profiting. Don't just watch the bombs, follow the money. Because history repeats itself, not because we forget, but because the winners want us to. The war between Iran and Israel in 2026 wasn't just a clash. It was a redistribution of wealth, from the poor to the powerful, from the desperate to the calculating. And the ones who counted the money? They're already preparing for the next crisis. So what about you? Will you keep watching the bombs, or will you start seeing the game? If this video opened your eyes, smash that like button. Subscribe. This is your wake-up call. Until next time, stay sharp.